Hi there and welcome to Storytime. My name is Stacy and I work on the education team at Learning Care Group. I'm really excited to spend some time with you today. Today we're going to be reading Mr. Crum's Potato Predicament, written by Renaud. It was illustrated by Felisa Citasala, and that means that she did all of the illustrations for this book. Let's get started. George Crum loved to cook. He fricasseed and flambéed, boiled and braised, poached and pureed. He made sorbets and soufflés, stews and succotashes, ragouts and goulashes. George loved cooking so much that his house ballooned with food, so he opened up a restaurant called Crum's Place and hired a waitress with cheeks as round as plums, named Gladys. Here's Gladys right here. George cooked to his heart's content and his customers devoured his concoctions. Many considered him to be the best cook in the county. That is until one day when in walked a peculiar-looking patron. He wore a purple polka-dotted cravat and a sunflower in his lapel. I didn't know what a cravat was, but when it said purple polka dots, it makes me think that it's this right here. That's the only thing I can see in the picture with purple polka dots that he's wearing. Filbert P. Horsefeathers is the name he trumpeted. The P stands for punctilious, and I have a hankering for a heaping helping of potatoes. Just potatoes, said Gladys. Just potatoes, said Filbert. So with a swish of his apron and a tap of his chef's hat, George got to work. He cut the potatoes into wedges, boiled them, fried them in a dollop of lard, and sprinkled them with salt. Then Gladys set the potatoes down in front of Filbert Punctilious Horsefeathers. Filbert speared a wedge with his fork and peered at it from all sides. Too thick, he said, pursing his lips and pushing his plate away. Well, huckleberry biscuits, said Gladys. The customer at table 5 is sending his plate back. Picky, 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 muttered George, who had never before had a customer refuse his cooking. So with another swish of his apron and tap of his chef's hat, George prepared a plateful of thinner wedges, and Gladys set them down in front of Filbert Punctilious Horsefeathers. Filbert speared a wedge with his fork, peered at it, took a teeny tiny nibble, still too thick, and bland as burlap, he said, rolling his eyes and pushing the plate away. Well, flying flapjacks, said Gladys. The customer at table 5 is sending his plate back again. Fussy, 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 muttered George, who proceeded to cook a plateful of even thinner wedges, this time with an extra splash of salt. Here's George. Can you see he's putting on that extra splash of salt? When Gladys set the potatoes down in front of Filbert Punctilious Horsefeathers, Filbert speared a wedge with his fork, he peered at it, nibbled it, and then took a bean-sized bite, still too thick and bland, and undercooked, he said, puffing out his cheeks and pushing his plate away. Gladys let out a tut-tut and a tisk-tisk and a snort, and then picked that plate up and returned to George's kitchen for a third time. This cannot be, said George. Everyone loves my spuds. They're scrumptious, they're succulent, they're sublime. Ooh, those are really good spicy words. Scrumptious, succulent, sublime. That means delicious or tasty or even yummy. Not according to finicky persnickety Filbert Punctilious Horsefeathers, said Gladys. No, he didn't think they were yummy, did he? He sent them back. Now, George was known to his customers to be a bit of a prankster, and his daily menu was evidence of his lively sense of humor. To draw a laugh or two, George often listed menu items that were, let's say, somewhat unusual. Today's specials: stewed skunk and sassafras sauce, pickled possum pancakes, and grilled groundhog en croûte. Does that sound good to you guys? I've never eaten those things. I think George is playing a joke on them. So in the spirit of playfulness, George took one more potato and carefully balanced it on his chopping block. With his finest, sharpest knife, he slowly shaved it into the thinnest, slimmest, and trimmest of slices. He heated a ladleful of lard in his pan and fried the slices until they were so crispy they crackled, and he showered them with salt. That means he used a lot of salt. Let's see how Mr. Horsefeathers fancies these spuds, said George with a wink. And with a wisp of a smile, Gladys set the plate down in front of Filbert Punctilious Horsefeathers. Those potatoes look really familiar to me. I think I've eaten potatoes like this. I've tried them before that look like this. Have you? Filbert turned his plate this way and then that way, and he tried spearing one of the potato slices, but it splintered. So Filbert put down his fork and with his fingers he stacked the slices until they teetered. And he cracked one. And he snapped one. And only after that did Filbert Punctilious Horsefeathers pop one into his mouth. Is he going to like it? What do you think? Is he going to like it or is he going to send it back again? Yeah, let's find out. Perfection, he proclaimed. And before you could say prickly porcupine pie, Filbert had munched and crunched and gobbled up every last morsel. I guess the joke is on you, said Gladys when she returned the empty plate to George. Fire up that frying pan one more time. I want to try these for myself. And with a swish of his apron and a tap of his chef's hat, George did exactly that. Why, my taste buds are tap dancing, exclaimed Gladys after sampling George's new creation. Delectable and delicious, declared George, after he, too, ate a few. I'll call them Crumbs Krispies, and I'll put a plateful on every table. Word spread, and before long, people came from all over the county and far, far beyond, and they were clamoring for George's newest concoction, which became to be known as potato chips. Thank you for joining me for story time. Great stories can promote more fun and learning. So after you're done watching the video, go ahead and click on the link to find the activities that are associated with this book. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye now.